Hello there! Tonight on our Twitch channel, we are doing a Fantasy Flight Star Wars game, a one shot that Josh is going to run for us because he has used the Edge of the Empire system before and he claims that it's not as intimidating as it seems to be. And since I have no idea what we're doing, Josh is going to explain it to me. And it's based on the whole dice system that they have going on here, which are a little different. But again, Josh says it's easy. Let's see if he's right.
Edge of the Empire by Fantasy Flight Games, or even Age of Rebellion or Force and Destiny, they're really all the same game. It's really an excellent system, very easy to pick up on. And Jake, I don't know if you remember this, but me, you, and Nooch actually sat down in a game store. Oh man, it had to be like 7 years ago, something like that.
It was a
And
while, yeah.
but we actually sat down, we played the beginner game, and for you and Nuge, it was blind, and for me, I had really just skimmed the rule book. I don't even think I'd made a character in that game yet, and it went pretty smooth.
I don't remember having difficulty. I remember just being like, I'll do what you say, and it was fine.
Yeah, and you could pretty much get by like that. So it definitely it seems daunting. It seems very difficult because of this weird dice system. But the dice system that they use, they call it the narrative dice. It actually works very well. And I will say just before we get into the explanation that if you find a beginner game at a decent price, whether it's for any of their versions of this system, I'd definitely recommend picking it up because they're really good. It breaks everything down. And you also get some dice to start you off with, which is very nice to have. Technically, this system is like, it's in a weird purgatory of like, it's discontinued, but they're still printing it, but they're going to make a new system. And I guess maybe we'll do a video on that when it comes out. But for now, this is the system. This is what we're going to play tonight. And we're going to try to make the dice seem easier. So, just an overview of the dice themselves, right? You have your positive dice and you have your negative dice. With positive dice, you have the boost die, ability die, and the proficiency die. That's going to be the blue, the green, and the yellow. As far as negative dice, you have a setback, a difficulty, and a challenge die. That's going to be your black die, purple die, and the red die. So the positive results you could get would be either a success, an advantage, or a triumph, and the negative results would be a failure, a threat, or a despair. We'll get into what all that means in a little bit, but the first thing you'll do before you roll anything is you're going to determine what the dice pool is. So just like any tabletop RPG, the thing that's going to determine what you're rolling is how good your character is at something, and then the circumstances, which the GM will kind of decide. That'll be whatever difficulty dice you have, or negative dice, rather. So let's do an example, just to make life a little bit easier. Jake, you're going to be playing an astromech tonight, right? Is that correct?
Yes, P3T3Y, which is Petey. And so if you want to learn about Petey, you got to go to the stream tonight, or it'll be here the next day. But an astromech, they usually like to slice into a computer system and, do funny things to the enemy. So how would I do that?
If you're trying to hack or slice into some sort of computer system, we'll say let's use your computer skill.
It says computers 5, and there's 4 yellow, looks like D12s, and a green D8.
Yeah, so that would be 4 proficiency die, and 1 ability, which means you're very good at that.
Okay.
So let's say it's like an average difficulty task. So that'll be 2 of the purple difficulty dice that you'll add to that. So let's just have you roll all of those dice. It's going to be 7, right? 7 dice.
Yeah.
5 of those being good, 2 of those being possibly bad. And we'll see what happens, and we'll explain the results that you get.
And because I don't have the dice that come with this, I'm making sure the 2 difficulty ones are the same color, so I know exactly which ones those are. So
yeah, you can roll regular dice and just use the little key that they have. Converter.
Let's see, I got 2 10s, a 9, a 7. Those are on my proficiency die. I got a 6 on the ability, and then a 1 and an 8 on the difficulty.
Okay. Wow. All right. So then after using the converter, right, that brings us to, if I'm not mistaken, 6 advantages, 2 successes, a failure, and a threat. The way this system works is successes and failures cancel each other out, and advantages and threats cancel each other out, as well as triumphs and despairs, which obviously were not rolled this time. So the failure and the success are going to be canceled out. You'll be left with 1 success You have 6 advantages. You had 1 threat. So one of those advantages will be canceled out, and you will have 5 advantages and 1 success. So you did it. As long as you have more successes than you do failures, you win. You did the thing. So you were able to hack this, but then the advantages are kind of where the dice system gets, I don't want to say complicated because it's really not the right word. This is where the narrative system comes into play. In some aspects, I might say, okay, well, you had an advantage. So you tried to hack the computer to open this door. Maybe that's what you're trying to do, right?
Sure.
So you did it, you succeeded, you were able to open the door. However, you had an advantage. So maybe while you were in the computer system, you also learned some sort of information about the enemy, about maybe how many of them there are, or like
Okay.
where some secret weapons or something like that. It's like some sort of plan. There's some sort of benefit that you find that way. And what I think is kind of neat about this system is the difficulty and the weight of coming up with what an advantage or what a threat might be is not necessarily always on the GM. So while sometimes like it's perfectly within your right to just be like, oh, like I decide what those things are, you could absolutely, and I encourage you to ask your players, okay, what kind of advantage do you think you might have found? Or like what kind of threat, like what was the setback, right? Because let's say you didn't have any advantages. Let's say you had a setback. Okay, you were trying to hack this computer so that you could open this door. Well, you did it, but now they know you're here. You know, where you were sneaking, something along those lines.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a group storytelling effort. That's really what these dice do. They tell a story. This dice system, I would just refer to it as yes and. You know?
That is a really good way to sum that up.
Or no end. Like...
Yes, but. Or no, but.
Yeah. Exactly. It really does allow for some very cool moments where you might not have done what you wanted to do, but you could fail and have an advantage. And the possibilities are endless. It totally depends on what the situation is, but there's so many cool stories that you could tell because of the way they have that set up. It's like failing forward, right? Or even succeeding backward, right? How far can we take this metaphor?
Yes, I remember now when we were playing in that store, I remember feeling like we're going to learn this system and you barely skimmed it. Okay, Josh, sure. But like it really was not nearly as complicated as I thought it would be. And after doing 1 or 2 rolls, okay, yep, I get how this works now. Like it really was not as bad as I thought.
Obviously, this isn't our normal content, but if you do like this and you want to know more about it, let us know. Maybe we'll do some more. But what I really would recommend to you, check out Steve. Well, he used to be Steve Is Board. I believe he is Steve Makes Games now. Check out Steve Makes Games on YouTube. We'll have the links in the doobly-doo for him. When I started playing Edge of the Empire, his videos were the ones that I watched, and his will really get down into the details of like combat, making a character, and really this wealth of knowledge. The videos are very well done. He's a funny dude. And if you want us to do more stuff like this, then let us know. But aside from that, thank you for hanging out. Happy Star Wars Day to you. If you're watching on Star Wars Day, we'll see you at 8 o'clock on twitch.tv/JNJtabletop. And if it's not Star Wars Day, if that day has passed and you missed it live, well, we'll have the video on YouTube, so you can find it there. May the Force be with you.
And also with you.
And with your spirit. I think that's what they say now.
Is that really how they do it in Star Wars?
Yeah, they oh no, not in Star Wars now.
Like, no, that's a Catholic thing.
Yeah,